This is The Lunch Bunch with Andrew Hawthorne and Company on VOCM. For the next half hour, we will peek behind the big stories we are all talking about today. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station. Now your host of The Lunch Bunch, Andrew Hawthorne.
Welcome to The Lunch Bunch. We're having a festive, holly jolly time today. My guest, Dr. Janine Hubbard, is in the house. Hello, Janine.
Hello.
Welcome. We're wearing our Christmas sweaters. And you brought Christmas cookies. You can just stay.
I was going to say, we are getting into the festive spirit. We are embracing it. We are not going to let ourselves get stressed out by it.
Exactly. And that's what we're talking about. You know, it can be a very stressful, anxious time on the holidays. But it's not supposed to be that. Why would we keep doing it? I didn't notice your sweater is actually a llama.
It says fa la 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 llama.
Wow.
Because, you know, that's what everyone needs in...
I thought it was a snowman or something when you came in, but no, it's a fuzzy llama.
Yeah, it's a fuzzy llama wearing a Christmas scarf because, of course, again, I'm embracing the fun and the celebration that comes along with Christmas to try to mitigate the stress levels.
It can be, you know, we put a lot of pressure on this.
We do.
It's like your wedding day.
Yeah,
you know, it's supposed to be fun. But you end up paying $20,000 for the dress, and then there's the caterers to consider, and Uncle Bernie is going to be there.
And the day never goes as you actually expected it.
No.
I call it the Hallmark movie effect or the Pinterest effect. Used to be the Martha Stewart effect. We have this completely unrealistic idea as to what the perfect holidays and whether that's Christmas, whether that's Hanukkah, whether that's any other holiday you're celebrating. It could be getting ready for your New Year's party. We're embracing all of them today. We have this picture perfect idea of what everything's going to look like, what your food's going to be like, that you're going to have the perfect gifts for everyone, that everyone is going to be on their best behavior, that suddenly, you know, all of your children are going to be perfectly behaved and there will be no meltdowns and there will be no family fights. And we got to get real. We got to get real with our expectations.
Got to embrace the meltdowns.
We do.
And fights. I mean, you know, like it's fun if we'll let it be.
Yes.
You know, there's mitigating circumstances, obviously, but it's supposed to be a holiday and relaxing and things like that. Do you have any like relaxing traditions? That a lot of traditions, you know, get us uptight, decorating the house and got to get the presents and stuff. Do you have any like chilling traditions? Not chilling, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. The ones that help you to relax, that help you to, a lot of them for me are the ones that are tied up in memories. So, and for most of us, it's things that date back to childhood. So whether it's watching a favorite movie, whether it's baking a particular treat that you only ever make one time a year. I have a huge array of things that they're not necessarily Christmas. I could make them any other time of year.
You have a huge array of cookies that you brought today that are shortbreads that are delicious.
Absolutely. And you know what? Somehow in my mind, I'm not allowed to make those any other time of year, which is foolish.
Makes it special, though.
It does make it special. And it helps to tie in all of those past memories. So again, maybe it's going out and enjoying the lights. Maybe it's embracing the first snowfall and kind of, you know, taking the dog out for a walk and enjoying it. It's really taking a part of what is important as part of the season. Maybe it's listening to Christmas carols. Maybe you've got a favorite piece of music. Maybe for you, it's that Christmas Eve church service. Whatever it is that brings you the happy memories of the past. And then you put aside the fact that, right, I thought this was going to be fun and I'm still baking and it's 1 a.m. and I just need to be able to go to bed.
Oh, no, things can't go off the rails. All right, we're going to go off the rails and go to a break. And when we get back, we're talking Christmas traditions and trying to keep sane with Dr. Janine Hubbard. You stay tuned.
This is The Lunch Bunch on VOCM. Now back to Andrew Hawthorne and The Lunch Bunch on VOCM.
Welcome back to the show. We are on the VOCM Lunch Bunch today. My name is Andrew Hawthorne, and we are talking to Dr. Janine Hubbard about things to chill us out over the relatively stressful holidays. You mentioned before we went to the break, like watching a favorite movie or something, and I know for a fact, because we were just talking about it, that we share one of those Christmas movies in common as a favorite, and that's Christmas Eve on Sesame Street from 1977.
We did just discover that, and it's funny because until I was almost a teenager, I didn't know that it actually was was a show because I had it. Yes, I'm a child of the 70s. We listened to it on LP every year while putting up the Christmas tree.
Yep,
it
me
just
too.
wasn't Christmas till you did that.
Still have that LP, and it's great. Santa is telling you the story, and then like Big Bird comes in, and it's all about like Oscar trying to convince Big Bird that Santa can't get down the chimney. It's a great time.
And it's the gift
Classic.
of the Magi with Bert and Ernie and Mr. Hooper.
Oh, I know. Bert sells his paperclip collection to buy Ernie a soap dish.
Yep. And Ernie sells his rubber duck to get
See,
Bert a container for his paperclip collection.
even just talking about it right now is chilling me out. Like, I am ready for Christmas.
Yep.
I'm ready for the whole thing. You know, so this is something that you can do. Obviously, a lot of people, especially people with kids, are very anxious around this time of year. And not only the parents, but the kids can be anxious.
Absolutely. We know, again, this should be a lovely, joyous occasion. And again, we have this word should be.
We put pressure on
We
stuff.
put so much pressure on ourselves. We put pressure on our kids to be on their best behavior at a time when they're highly stimulated and lacking in sleep and maybe a little hepped on more sugar than they normally are. And then we expect them to behave like little angels. We ask them to stand in line to wait to see Santa and stand in line and then wonder why we have meltdowns.
Yeah. I mean, I would have a meltdown.
Yeah, but we do know actually for some kids, not everybody, but for some, this can actually increase some anxieties. I've had kids before where the idea that Santa comes into the house or that the
That's
elf
classic.
is watching them is really distressing and alarming. And
It seems very magical.
It does. And for most kids, it is. What I can tell you, though, because I do have direct communication with the big fella himself, I have helped make arrangements in the past for kids who were very nervous about Santa coming into the house. We've had Santa's sleigh delivered to the back shed or to a porch or even to the next door neighbors. Santa is flexible and can work with your needs if that's something that is a huge source of distress. And it's worth talking to your kids. Ask them, are there any things that are making you nervous about the holidays?
Yeah.
It might be having to, meet up with some of the relatives that you only see once a year and they insist on giving you a gripping hug and kiss. And
Maybe you don't want that hug and kiss.
you might not. And talking to them ahead of time about two things. Talking what are the things that maybe have them a little nervous or a little stressed. Again, we emphasize the whole Santa is watching and you have to be good at all times.
It's a little Big Brother, sure.
It's a little Big Brotherish, but it's also none of us are perfect. I don't know about you, but I can't promise that I have been good 100% of this past year. And if I'm concerned that Santa isn't going to come because, maybe I slugged my little brother or I said something I shouldn't have.
Or didn't slug my little brother. If he deserved it. I mean, I don't know
This
what
is
Santa
true,
wants.
but you want to make sure that you've reassured them about those. And then the other thing going into the holiday season, I always like to shift the language as opposed to asking, what are you hoping Santa will bring? I like to ask about what are you most looking forward to over the holidays? And again, as parents, it's the what do you remember best from last year or previous years? What's your favorite memory? Because often it's something like, well, remember when we went skating? Remember when we went to see that Christmas movie? Hey, remember when the dog nearly peed on the tree? Wasn't that funny?
Oh, no.
No, but sometimes it's the disasters that they remember.
Yeah, I mean, the disasters are often more fun than the successes.
They are, but that also helps to give you the perspective of it's not all about the gifts. Sometimes it is a treasured gift. That may be the case. But it helps you to figure out, are there things that they really are looking forward to doing over the holidays that you want to make sure that you're finding time and priority to include in the schedule?
It's interesting. Yeah, I remember when I was a very young kid, my favorite thing over the holidays was the big New Year's Eve gathering where the whole family would get together at Nana Gramps' and party and stuff. And of course, a lot of people, I was talking to the folks from Geekmas, the Geekmas market that happened last weekend last week. Oh, yeah? Did you pick up anything fun? Okay, maybe surprises.
There might be some surprises.
Oh, excellent. But they were saying that they have Santa there, but also Darth Vader in a Santa hat.
Darth Vader was far more popular.
Exactly. They were saying that kids that are scared of Santa are okay with Vader, a villain, because he's not coming into your house. He's on TV. He's safe. You've watched him. And so kids that were panicked about sitting on Santa's lap were fine meeting Darth Vader.
And it ties into that other long-standing classic Christmas tradition with the wrapping paper rolls turning into lightsabers.
I thought you were going to say the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Well, there's that too, but that's a
weird.
whole other degree of special. Yeah. But again, how much fun have you had as a kid, or have you watched your kids have, with the paper rolls from the wrapping paper.
Which is a good message.
It doesn't have to be the expensive stuff.
No, it's a good message for parents too, because especially for young kids, you know, like everybody has a story of the baby enjoying the wrapping paper more than the expensive toy inside of it. It's an interesting conundrum because we've been complaining that Christmas was too commercial since at least Snoopy's Christmas back in the 60s, I guess.
Yep.
So, and we still have got no better at this.
No, we are going down the pop culture route today. I love it.
We are, yeah.
No, and it's reminding, although it's interesting because we're starting to see so many more of our youth being much more ecologically minded, being concerned about the environment and the impact they're having on it. We're starting to see a little bit of shift, at least in some of our youth, in terms of whether it's more eco-friendly gifts or more eco-friendly packaging, or kind of again, we're seeing a really nice shift in terms of community mindedness and the importance of giving back to the community or making charitable donations, or all of the things that, again, we want to emphasize are really important as part of the holidays.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff can cut down on anxiety too. If you're using eco-friendly packaging, a lot of the time that's reusing a gift bag or something like that. And when you're giving donations and doing things, when people take the time to say, you know what, I've got enough stuff and I'd like to focus somewhere else, it removes the stress of trying to figure out the perfect gift for this person.
It really does. And it's funny, we reached that as a family a few years ago because we reached a point where everybody was exchanging gift cards. And it was like, why are we doing this? We're all adults. So this is kind of feeling really silly. And probably the best gift that was given that year was a voucher that said, you know, a donation has been made to the local food bank in your name.
Yeah. Which gives you a great feeling.
It gives you a great feeling. It's an important one even to teach to little kids. I always try to include a small donation or, you know, a token of some sort has been made on your behalf to whatever organization might be important to them. So if they're really into animals, maybe it's to the SPCA or one of the animal shelters.
Even more thoughtful, yeah. Somebody likes beagles, go to Beagle Paws.
Exactly. And that doesn't have to be their entire gift, but it's a small token of the acknowledgement that, hey, we're really lucky. Not everybody is as lucky as we are, so we want to make sure that we're kind of spreading some of the balance. And listen, it makes the shopping piece so much easier.
Oh, man.
You go online, you send a couple of donations, you write some cards, you don't have to step foot in the mall.
And it's the one kind of online shopping that you can feel entirely guilt-free about, you know?
Exactly.
You don't have to worry about the local angle. You don't have to worry about Amazon and feeding Jeff Bezos.
And it's going to, whether it's a local organization or something larger.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you're starting to feel stressed, that's a great way to do things.
Just pull a thorough and simplify.
It's all about the simplifying. The other thing is, especially if you are exchanging gifts amongst kind of groups of adults, one of the hardest things to do is to raise the subject of money and gifts. Now is a great time to do it. It may be a little late this year, but even starting to plan ahead for next year. It's okay, because not everybody is in the same financial situation every year. It's okay to say, you know what, guys? This year things are really tight. How be we just get together for lunch? How be we have tea?
Give an experience.
Give an experience, exactly.
That's great.
Or, you know what, as opposed to coming up with a gift for everybody, let's do a silly, a Secret Santa gift exchange or a pass the parcel swap. I have to tell you, people have heard this from me before. I used to go to a tacky gift party where we spend all year finding the perfect cheap tacky gift.
Okay.
And
I hope that's not where your sweater came from.
Oh, no. This was high quality. Come on.
Absolutely.
But we had more laughs at that party. And same thing, I've done ones where it's a pass the parcel and it's a small token item. It's maybe some chocolates or some hot chocolate. Like, it's nothing of huge significance, but we have so much fun in the experience of it. And it reminds you, it's not about driving yourself crazy trying to find the perfect gift. It really is about the spending time with friends, spending time with family, having a laugh.
Well, I hope you're having a laugh and having a fun time spending time with us. But right now, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we're talking about Christmas with Dr. Janine Hubbard on The Lunch Bunch. Stay tuned.
Linda Swain is talking politics, crime, arts, education, and even a little trash. It's On Target St. John's. What's happening here from the people who know? Today at 1 on VOCM. Now back to Andrew Hawthorne and the Lunch Bunch on VOCM.
We're back. We're talking about having a cool Yule with Dr. Janine Hubbard, trying to keep your cool, at least around the holidays here. We've been talking about ways to kind of keep the entire holiday for the family and especially for your kids kind of sane. But what about for the parents? They need some love. How am I, a parent, of a dog, how am I going to be able to keep saying this holiday?
First of all, keep the dog away from the tree.
We actually, you know what we do? Here's a tip for dog owners. We only get half a tree. So we actually will buy a tree that only looks good for the top 3 feet or so, cut the bottom off, and stick it on a table.
Well, there you go.
There you go. She can't get anywhere near that thing, Effie.
See,
She's
you
not gonna
figured
eat
out
my
a way
tree.
to decrease your stress.
Set her up for success. That's what we're doing.
Exactly. Well, and that's what a lot of this is setting all of us up for some success.
But say that Effie isn't a very well-behaved dog out of reach of a tree. Say Effie is a 3-year-old who really wants to eat this priceless thing that I've bought them or something. I don't know. I don't know what kids do nowadays. What do I do as a parent? Can you tell I'm not a parent?
One of the things that's important to remember is for all of us over the holidays, we get off schedule. Our eating and drinking goes quite dramatically off schedule. Our sleep tends to go a little wonky. Because we're not doing our regular daily routine, our exercise kind of goes out the window, all of those things that we might normally be doing. So reminding yourself to pace your schedule. And now is a great time. Take a look at the invites at the things that you have listed for the month. And it's kind of like, that adage of when you're getting dressed, putting on all the jewelry and then taking off one. Yeah. You kind of need to look at the month and go, how much can I realistically manage and still enjoy all of it and not feeling guilty about saying no to some of the invitations, about setting some limits, especially if you have kids. Because listen, by the time you reach about the first week, they're going to be so overtired and overstimulated and grouchy, and they're either going to be having the meltdowns or they're going to be getting sick and you're going to be getting sick. Take a look and pace yourself.
You can burn out fast.
You can burn out really fast. Make sure you're scheduling some quiet movie nights. Make sure you're scheduling some down days. Make sure you're maybe booking yourself in for a walk outside or a visit to the gym sometime over the holidays.
Or hey, if you want, combine this with getting the perfect present and give somebody a day at the spa. Particularly your spouse.
Okay. Now you're talking my language.
There you go, right?
Yeah, no, but it's remembering to balance it all out because we get so hyped. And it's so hard because the other piece is there's a lot of guilt and emotion tied in with the season. And again, I mean, there's that guilt and about, I have to find the perfect gift, but there's also I must fulfill every social obligation I'm giving. If somebody wants me to, somebody's taken the time to invite me to a party, I must go to all of the parties. My children must go to everything they've possibly been invited to and everything they want to go see. And listen, it's not humanly possible. And you're far better off having a conversation saying, look, you know what? We're really, really overscheduled that particular week, or we've got like 3 things happening that night. Can we do a rain check for a get together in January or February when things are really quiet and honestly kind of dull and boring?
That's a great idea. I have a real problem. The back half of the year is so loaded with great holidays.
Yep.
Like you've got Halloween, Thanksgiving, you've got Christmas, all this stuff happens so fast. And then we've got January, February, and March, basically nothing.
And lousy weather when actually you're probably really happy to have the excuse to get together and force yourself out of the house a little bit.
Yeah. Why not have a nice Christmas in February sometimes?
Absolutely. But so making sure to take the guilt piece out so that people aren't, you're not feeling like you're slighting them.
Mm-hmm. It's okay to say no. It's okay to be said no to.
Absolutely.
Just chill.
And it's nothing personal. It's that self-care that we all need to be really mindful of this time of year.
Speaking of self-care, of course, there's been a lot of great strides in terms of how we are able to accommodate people with special needs and people with children with special needs. And, we saw that with the Christmas parade here downtown with a quieter area.
Which was fantastic, yep.
We were talking about anxiety involving Santa Claus earlier, and a lot of Santas now have like a low light, low sound period for children who might have problems with that to come in.
They do. We also, if you take a look around, a lot of the Santas now have benches.
Yeah, you don't have to sit on Santa's lap.
You don't have to sit on Santa's lap. You can sit beside Santa. You can sit on the floor in front of Santa.
You can go find Darth Vader if any of that is a problem.
Well, that works too.
Yeah. What other kind of tips do you have for those kind of parents who are looking to make this a little easier on kids who might need a bit of an extra help?
Again, it's knowing your child, knowing their triggers, knowing what they're going to enjoy, and not feeling pressure from others. in terms of the expectations. If you know that a particular social event is just going to be nothing but negative triggers for your kid, it's okay to say, no, I think we're going to pass on that one. Or if they're really uncomfortable being greeted by a particular relative, it's okay, again, to kind of say, no, we're going to do a high five this year. We don't have to hug and kiss. We can find a different way to show greeting. And so some of it's being really proactive. The other piece that I'd suggest is take a look at the people who are in your social surroundings and in your network, whether it's colleagues, whether it's friends, whether it's family. Be mindful, is there anyone who has experienced a change in circumstances this year? Whether it's a loss of a loved one. Perhaps this is the first Christmas for somebody in the family without a family member. Maybe they've recently gone through divorce or separation and they're trying to navigate the murky waters of how do we deal with multiple Christmases. Maybe it's somebody whose financial situation has changed.
We're going through a lot of stuff in this province right now.
There is a lot of stuff going on, and being mindful of that and reaching out to people. And best thing you can do is saying, hey, look, I'm thinking about you. I know circumstances are different this year. How would you like to handle Christmas? What would you like to do?
Yeah.
What can I do to help?
And that could be anything from, calling it off, doing some simpler things.
Yep.
To inviting, a friend over for Christmas dinner when you know that they're going to be alone, if that's what they want, if that's what you're comfortable with.
Yep.
There's a lot of different ways.
There are tons of different ways, and a lot of it is just kind of respecting what their needs may be. And for a lot of those people, especially somebody who's newly bereaved or newly separated, they may not know right now what it is they need. And so leaving it as a very open-ended thing, saying, hey, look, I'm having a drop-in potluck Christmas Eve or Boxing Day, or you know what, there is so much food that's going to be here for Christmas Day. If you want to pop by for a couple of hours, you are absolutely welcome to. But at the same time, if you're not feeling it that day, that's okay too.
Yeah. Christmas, is often cited as a time when depression can be a lot heavier than normal because there's so much pressure to be happy.
Absolutely. And we haven't even talked about people who are experiencing depression, experiencing anxiety, those who are away from friends and family or feeling estranged from friends and family. Those are some high-risk groups. So make sure you're reaching out. Mm-hmm. Make sure you're taking care. And remember, at the end of the day, this is supposed to be a season about love. It's supposed to be about caring, compassion, sharing our joy with our friends, our families, our loved ones. So making sure that you can include as many people as possible in that.
Well, that's lovely. I can't think of a better note to end it on. Janine, thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate you talking about all these things. Hopefully you, listener out there, have got some tips from all this stuff, and you can write to Janine and thank her if you did. I'm going to write to Janine and thank her, and also thank her for all the cookies that you brought, because I'm going to eat those cookies as soon as we get off the air, by the way. So is Claudette. I can see her in there now.
And there's no calories in Christmas cookies, right?
Absolutely
that's the
not.
Rule.
Christmas
Absolutely.
is a cheat day.
Birthday cake and Christmas cookies, no calories.
Absolutely. That has been your VOCM Lunch Bunch for today. It's Tuesday. There's an awful lot of news going on, so you better stay tuned to On Target Linda Swain. She's looking at me right now. She's getting ready in there. She's got a really good show coming up for you. Stay tuned here. You can find all the breaking news on VOCM.com, and we will be back tomorrow at 12:30 with the VOCM Lunch Bunch. Until then, c'est la vie, mon cher.